Hey, welcome back to Prometheus Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Landon Wade. I'm here with Sean Jew.
Hey.
And Colin Burns.
Howdy.
We're just chilling on the floor in our apartment, ready to talk to you a little bit more about architecture. Today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about dreams. And not necessarily sleepy dreams, but dreams as in those goals you used to have. Sometimes you might still have them. That's part of what we're going to talk about, whether reality's checked in or not. That's kind of the point of today's argument. But before we get to the meat of all that, we want to talk about a day in the life of what's kind of happening in architecture school. So we actually did not broadcast last week because we were in El Paso. We said we might broadcast, but then we ended up having other assignments and dinners and drinks and all that.
2 out of 3 of us were way too intoxicated after 8 o'clock, so we couldn't do it.
Yeah, so that obviously didn't work out too well. We had a good time, though. It was fun. So I guess we can talk about that in Day of the Life, right? So when we have these projects, they're actually, the projects themselves are hypothetical, but we go to a piece of land that is real. And in these later years in studio, so we're third years, so in the later years in studio, these sites are out of the city and usually out of the state, and so this time our project was in El Paso. We're building on the border, hypothetically, obviously, because the government would never actually allow that to happen, but we are right. So we're building there.
It depends on how many connections you have.
Right, yeah. We know President Trump. It's okay. We're going to build part of that.
No, we know Elon Musk.
So we went there, and a site visit, you go and you take pictures, you get to know the culture, you get to know the actual place, what it's like, what it feels like, where the sun's coming from, all these small details that you may never really notice when you're just walking along day to day, but as architects, these are things we look at to inform our design decisions. So to help us decide where to put windows, where to put walls, how far we want a roof to overhang from the side of the building, things like that. So that's what we were doing.
That was depressing.
Yeah,
that was really depressing.
That doesn't sound like that much fun, but it really, once the information you gather really helps out in the long run, and it makes the rest of the process a heck of a lot easier.
And it's not like the entire time we were just taking pictures and doing busy work. We were taking in the culture, just getting the sightsee. So it was it's like a vacation with a little work. I know Landon makes it sound like we were just there like brown nosing our sketchbooks the entire time doing a bunch of work. No, we were having a lot of fun and getting to experience a new culture.
I think the biggest thing about those kind of site studies is actually experiencing the landscape and the culture and everything that place has to offer for the people. Because you're not just building whatever structure you're going to build just for yourself. You're building it for the people that's going to experience that area. So I think that's why I think the site studies are important. But Landon might have had a different, more boring idea. I mean...
Well, all right. That's what Sean and Colin says.
What we're trying to get at is Landon is boring.
just this episode. I'll get better in episode 6. But... yeah, so it really is a lot of fun. We got some El Paso barbecue. That was fun.
Got some margaritas.
Sean got a margarita or 7, and
that was great.
And yeah, it was pretty cool. We got to check out some museums.
Yeah, we made some homemade fajitas.
That was probably honestly my favorite part of the trip was
You're welcome, boys.
The dinner we had the last night. We made some delicious fajitas. We got that skirt steak, the real thin stuff, and made some fajita meat. Sean seasoned it up, Colin grilled it, and while they were doing that, I was helping make some jalapeno poppers, which is definitely a favorite.
Which nobody ended up eating, so we had to bring back home.
I ate like half of them. There was a lot. We made 2 pans.
That should tell you about the taste.
Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we did all last week. This week we're taking all that information and starting to play with the massing of the buildings, which is basically talking about general shape and what the purposes of each thing is going to be. So this is basically when architects get to go back to our child days and play with blocks again.
Yay.
Except blocks this time mean like a gym or an auditorium and a bedroom rather than just ABCD.
Yeah, my class kind of skipped the whole Lego block thing.
Yeah.
I never played with Lego blocks as a kid.
You were
you
deprived.
never had a normal childhood to begin with.
That's true.
Oh, what do you mean?
What 11-year-old kid listens to CNN newscast on the radio?
CNBC.
Wow, so much better.
Didn't get to the CNN part until I was like 14. But
Yeah, it was for a more mature audience.
it's what I found fun. I mean, I liked reading. I liked watching the news. I liked how the stocks were trading. Yeah, it was abnormal.
Yeah, Sean's a
He was like a 40-year-old man trapped in a 10-year-old body.
yeah, Sean's pretty unique in
Every way, shape,
lots
and
of
form.
I was about to say that respect, but it's like every respect. So anyway, so that's kind of day in the life. Close that segment down here. Look, we're gonna start to talk about dreams. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
What? Wait, what?
I just thought there's a lot of good lyrics, like song lyrics when it comes to dream on, you know. John Lennon, he also had the song I just talking
Imagine
about.
by
Yeah.
John Lennon.
Yeah, Imagine by John Lennon. That's a good one. So, okay. So, when we're talking dreams, just to clarify again. So, we're talking about the kind of dreams that, like, a 5-year-old has of wanting to be an astronaut, or that somebody has of wanting to be a race car driver. You know, things like that. These dreams the things that help you wake up in the morning, you know, the things that make you passionate, the things that make your heart beat, that make you run faster, that make you push harder.
Maybe the only thing that keeps you awake in the morning.
A lot of times, yeah, they're the only reason you want to get up and get out of bed and keep living life. So we're gonna kind of explore the idea of dreams. You know, maybe share some of our dreams. But the unfortunate reality is reality itself. Is that, you know, reality always taps in and me, for example, when I was a kid, I wanted to be like everything. You know, I was like, oh well, you know, my dream is to own like these companies, and then also I want to be like this hardcore dude, like a superhero that's in the movies, and then also I wanted to be this. So obviously for me, the reality was that
So you wanted to be Tony Stark.
I was
much,
gonna say more like Bruce Wayne.
yeah, Bruce Wayne, Tony Stark, Elon Musk. He's actually living some of that dream right now. But
Kind of unlike Captain America.
well,
You can kind of do everything.
that's the thing is
He's like Dan Bilzerian.
shots fired. Sean's still hurting from episode 1. But so that obviously the reality for me was that you just can't do it all. And so that's kind of just one quick example. So who wants to share their dreams? We're getting touchy-feely. Sean's going to share his dreams. Colin's going to share his dreams.
Oh. Well, my dream as a kid was to be an author. I wanted to be someone who can write and who can create my own little world within books or series and able to put what's in my head and show it to other people to prove that, hey, I really am thinking about these things and make a living out of it. But unfortunately, I found out that there were a lot of other great writers that I could never be as good as them. So that's when I had to fold my dreams up, and now my dream's kind of just to make money. I want to make money. I'll do everything for money. I'll do anything for money. Comment on what you guys like and would pay for.
Okay. So now that Sean's public endorsement for himself is over. Colin, you want to share some of your special dreams?
I only had one.
Colin had one dream. Okay.
I was a very simple-minded child. Well, where do I begin?
Will you start with shoot?
Well, it all
End with
started with
bad
my
guys.
obsession for really badly made 1950s spaghetti westerns. I used to sit on my couch dressed as a cowboy with the with the stick horses and
Yeah.
guns. I'd sit on my couch and watch Western movies and shoot the TV. That kind of led on to my discovery for the military. And granted, a military is a family kind of tradition of for mine, both my grandfathers served, my dad served, so, I thought it was my turn. So from the time I could, I was about 7 years old till I got into high school, I was like, you know what, I'm going to be a Marine and I'm going to shoot terrorists. Because, I guess terrorist is the more politically correct term.
It's.
Yeah,
I think it's actually the only correct term based on what you were about to say.
And I would have fulfilled that dream if my dad wouldn't have threatened to kick me out of the house if I would have fulfilled that dream.
So Colin's dream's simple. Some people have more complex or, more facets to their dreams and things like that. What was the reality that, Sean already kind of shared that. What was the reality in your dream, Colin, that took you out of it? Why aren't you serving?
I want a house to live in.
he shared it too. His dad was gonna kick him out.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing more shake shed reality than your dad telling you if you leave, don't come back.
I guess that's right. Well, okay, so I guess I've seen this pattern not just in the things that we've shared, but in general too. It's a lot of people have these really big dreams, and reality kind of checks in, and sometimes the reality works for the better, because it's not that you're giving up on a dream, but you're finding a dream rather than like knowing the dream you want and like living it. Some people can do that, but I think that those people are fewer and further between. I think the more common scenario with people that end up, quote unquote, living their dreams is they find those dreams as they move through life. But then again, I think the greater majority after those two categories are people that just kind of give up and want to live life for what it is. If that's their job at the DMV, punching tickets and really just like wanting to just exist or not exist. They kind of just give up, and I think that's a sad thing, because dreams are, to me, they're kind of why we're here. Dreams are important to have.
I always tell other people, like this one. There was this one freshman that came and talked to me. He's like, I don't think architecture school is what I want to do. It's nothing that I wanted it to be when I came to the architecture school. And I told him, I'm just like, you have to be a realist. You can't keep dreaming anymore. That's called being naive. And there's no one better in this world to step on and move forward with than the people that are naive and people that just won't cope with reality. But, be a realist. Look at the reality. Live the reality. But always have an impossible dream at your heart. Because I think part of the reason why I wake up every day and get out of my bed to go to school is because I have an impossible dream in my heart that I'm probably never going to reach.
There's something attractive, though, about the impossible dream,
I think it's because it's impossible. That's why it's so attractive.
Well, it's almost like...
It's like seeing that, really, really hot girl that you're never going to have a chance with.
Yeah, as weird.
She's more attractive because you're never going to have a chance with her.
As weird as that is, I was about to make, that exact same analogy.
It's like...
it's...
I will crap my pants if she ever gets next to me, but she is so hot. It's kind of that theory.
Yeah. So one point that Sean made I thought's kind of interesting is that let's call them non-dreamers, not for the sake of judgment, but just to kind of summarize those few categories that we talked about. The people that end up just giving up on their on their dream, or deciding to live a more normal life, could we say less rigorous or less aggressive towards something that they dreamt of. That kind of the non-dreamers end up fueling the dreamers, because every famous, you look at any huge movie star, anybody who's really done something significant, they're hardly ever do it alone. Hardly ever. There's always at least a right-hand man or woman, and then in addition to that, they've got a crew and all that kind of stuff. You look at, it's starting to turn to architecture. You look at Frank Gehry. How many people does he have in his firm? You look at Gensler. You look at big architects. How many people do these guys have in their firms? And obviously, for a lot of architects,
Colin and I were talking about Steve Jobs the other day. He never really invented anything. It's true. His engineers and his design crew that did all the work, but it was him that was on the spotlight
Yeah.
presenting the new iPhone or the MacBook or whatever that's coming out. So, I mean, yeah, you are right. People who are trying to get through every day, they do end up, I don't want to say being used, because that kind of sounds like it's for malicious intent.
Yeah, that's like against their will.
Yeah,
like they choose their fate in this.
Yeah,
regard.
it's kind of like setting up bricks for a giant building. Everybody's going to look at the building but not the bricks. But the bricks are what makes the buildings go.
That's true.
So I think it's just kind of like that. We need all those people, and that's why we have such few people that succeed or successfully fulfill their dreams.
I think also in a respect, there's a development. I mean, nobody can just be in that metaphor. Nobody can just be a building all of a sudden out of nowhere. You got to be a brick at some point in your life. You know, I know as architects we have to do an internship, you know, so there's going to be a point in time we're going to be getting coffee and stapling packets together for the conference meeting. You know, like you've got to go through. That's kind of a rite of passage. If you want to be a dreamer, if you want to live your dream, the rite of passage is to pass through the brick stage. You know, the stage of doing monkey work, of doing stuff that you don't really want to do, and that's the critical thing in any dream. In my mind, the way I see it is sacrifice is really important to live any dream you want. Unless you're just a trust fund baby and you want to be rich. And
if there are any employers listening to this, Sean Ju will do anything for money. Just letting you know.
Just want to reaffirm the point.
The saying
that Sean Ju will do anything for money. So, Colin's daydreaming over here. He's daydreaming.
Just a little bit. It's been a rough week.
Yeah, Colin. Yeah, back to the day in the life. It's been a rough week. We're glad it's Friday. Anyway, so I guess we can kind of start to wrap up the topic of dreams. We're really glad you guys have been with us to talk about this today. I think the cool thing about dreams is that they are really a personally defined goal, and you can push as hard as you want to towards your dreams. You can give them up. You can change them. We are in complete control of our dreams, and I think the key ingredient is to be passionate about your dreams.
Yeah.
To do something you're passionate about, because you're never going to live a dream out that you don't want to live. And if it's something that really does make your heart beat and that makes you push in the morning, push all the time, but especially when you're waking up in the morning, you just like, you know, why am I living this life?
Mm-hmm.
That dream, whatever comes into your head, should be your dream.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you need to push towards. And yeah, there'll be times you got to sacrifice for your dreams. There are going to be times that you want to give them up. But I think those times are what really start to define, you know, that's when it defines you as a dreamer, and that's when you start to really decide your path, you know?
Yeah. I think in every field there are dreamers. There are people who wants to innovate.
Yeah.
But I think especially in the field of architecture, there are more people who wants to be innovators than who wants to be the people that are the support. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that's a bad trend. It's always, I mean, by William Smith Clark, boys be ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
Humans are going to be ambitious all the time, but sometimes you want to give up on your dream, you think it's impossible. There's no shame in giving up. There's no shame in quitting the race. I mean, it happens to people. That's why only few makes it to the finish line. But just try to think of what gets you to wake up in the morning and what gets you to go and live through the day. Because if you don't have those things, it gets rough.
Well, and I mean, I think I disagree with you a little bit on some of that, just because, like, the stuff you said just now, like, totally. But I think giving up on dreams, I think that's not allowed to me. If you want to change your dream, fine, but you got to have a dream, you know?
I mean,
taking a break for a few seconds to redefine, find a new dream, or adjust a little bit, totally, that's fine. But if you're just throwing in the towel, old-fashioned, like, you know.
Why not?
Because I mean, you gotta. Dreams are what make life worth it, you know. And if
I
you-
mean, I think individuals decide what individual lives are worth.
I mean,
And really, if you
Can't
don't
argue
want a
that.
dream, that's fine. I honestly, when I was graduating high school, I didn't have a dream. I didn't have a goal. I didn't want to go to college. But I mean, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here because I sort of like this is a little religious saying. I let Jesus take the wheel,
yeah.
which is weird because I'm not religious. I never told him to get in my car, but he kind of did.
what are you doing in my car?
He's like, who are you? I've seen you somewhere. But it's okay not to have a dream. Just kind of flow with where life takes you, how life takes you, and you'll be somewhere. But dreams aren't. It shouldn't be the judgment of your character. It shouldn't be the judgment of you. It should be just yours and yours only. Your dreams shouldn't be used for other people to judge who you are.
No,
and
I can't argue that.
what
That's-
kind of person you are.
Yeah, and I think I'm realizing now that we haven't like had the official, quote unquote tie to architecture when it comes to dreams, but I think that's part of dreams aren't there's not like a category for architecture within dreams because to me dreams are architecture.
Architects dream all the time, but architects dream of. I think all architects have that one building in their mind that they just have to build before they die. That one design in everyone's mind. I mean, they're going to be all different because that's what individuality is, but
Yeah.
there's that one thing that everybody has to build before they die, but not everybody gets to build that. Only so few people get to build that.
Yeah.
I think that's the dream. But like I said, not everybody gets to build that because they're hit with reality. They
Yeah.
get stuck in a position where they can't even design things. And I think that's what architect's dream is. I think it's the fuel that gets this field going.
Yeah. Well, here's kind of I think probably my number one architecture dream, and I love don't get me wrong, I love sexy buildings. I love building. I love I would love to make a profit off of it. I would love to be famous. Like those are all really good things for me. But I was at the Kimball Art Museum recently,
Oh, that's a good building.
and which is, my goodness, it
Louis
is
Kahn,
Louis Kahn. It is an amazing building by Louis Kahn.
my absolute favorite architect, Louis Kahn.
And Renzo Piano did an addition to it, which is I also love Renzo. Like if I could go out to lunch with Renzo Piano sometime, man, I'd kill for that. But
Isn't he really old?
he's getting there.
Oh,
he's older.
Oh, he's getting there.
He's got kind of white hair. and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
But Louis Kahn designed this building, and underneath the actual exhibits, like man, I could talk for hours about the actual building. So like check it out because like I don't want to bore you with talking about textures of limestone.
Yeah, Kimball Art Museum,
But
Dallas
yeah,
Fort Worth.
Yeah, it's in Fort Worth, Texas, the Kimball Art Museum. Anyway, so down in this part underneath the basement, not the models are what are impressive. What really impressed me was what I think is the curator or the owner of the museum at the time. It was one of the head honchos. But what impressed me the most was they wrote this really nice piece about Louis Kahn and how one that he was just a genuine caring person and that he was really related well to the people he built for.
Yeah.
And that the building was just functioned amazingly for what they needed.
Mm-hmm.
And that it was exactly what they needed and that they loved the building and that it made all the difference in the world to them. And to me, like that's like I'm even like might even start tearing up when I'm talking about this, but like to me that really is the significance of architecture is to make a difference to people. That's my dream,
I mean, I think the reason why Louis Kahn is my favorite architect is because he doesn't build structures. He doesn't build buildings. He builds that one moment. And if you guys really look into Louis Kahn's architecture, you'll quickly figure out what I'm talking about. He doesn't just build structures that are just there. He just everything he does with that structure and the landscape and the surrounding areas, it creates a moment. That special moment. I think, and honestly, as an architect, as an architecture student myself, that's my dream. I don't want to be an architect that builds buildings or structures. I want to be able to build a moment where everybody can live in, where everybody can, you know that the childhood memories that you look back to, you never get the full memory.
Yeah.
But you have that special moments that you remember.
Yeah.
I want my buildings to be in people's mind when they grow up seeing my buildings. So
Yeah.
they look back and my building is always in their background.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of architect that I want to be. But like I said, not many of us make it there. I'm probably not going to make it there. Again, I'll do anything for money.
That's
There it
reality.
is.
That's reality checking in. I think Louis Kahn. I think he died content, but I don't think he died.
He didn't die. He died very.
I don't think
not very poor, but he died pretty poor.
he did. He died. I mean, he did.
And
He did die, but didn't he die? Like
That relates to the story
somebody find him
that
in a
Landon
bathroom?
told about how he's such a caring person. I think he was in a Western Asia or somewhere.
What was it? It was his very last.
Very last building. He built
was
it
it
for
temple
a
or something?
government.
Yeah, it was for the government. Was it
Of-
Lisboa? Why am I thinking?
I
no,
don't.
Lisboa.
I'm not sure of the country, but it was in somewhere in the Middle Eastern European country.
Really beautiful building.
And he didn't get paid. He actually paid himself to build some of the structures that was required for the design.
Well, he was on site, like working with. There are pictures of him with the people.
Yeah,
like with
he
you
was,
see,
he
like,
was working construction too.
Yeah, you see like these dirt poor guys like working with wheelbarrows and stuff, and like there's Louis Kahn, like he's just like,
Yeah.
and he's working too. The reason I say that I think he died content but not necessarily fully happy is because I don't think he could fit all of his dreams into his life. He was a
No.
really passionate, loving.
This world was too small for that man.
Really, that's a perfect way to
Yeah.
put it. Because he was. Yeah, I really look up to him. Opposingly, you have architects that are famous, like Frank Lloyd Wright, they're skilled architects, but they were greedy and they were kind of jerks.
I know Frank Lloyd Wright died very content.
Well, yeah, we don't even talk about that. But it just completely changes things, when you talk about Louis Kahn and how much he cares about his buildings. It was obviously his dream to do that kind of stuff, and that's why I think we fully advocate living your dreams, because that's your dreams is gonna make people that live their dreams make the world a better place, and that really is one simple rule that can just make life a lot better in the future. It's just
Yeah, I
you go
agree with you on
live
that.
your life like not like exactly like Louis Kahn, but in a way that you're passionate, that when you die people can be like, man, they loved what they did, they were passionate about it, made a difference.
Everybody dies, but not everybody
Truly lives.
has to be forgotten.
It's true.
You can live forever in that way.
Yeah, we're getting real.
What is the saying? Everyone dies, but not everybody truly lives.
Yeah, we're getting real existential in this episode.
Sean Ju will do anything for money.
All right, well, so I think that kind of wraps up the conversation. Are there any final? That wasn't really an argument. That was just a good man. We're getting good at this. We're not arguing.
Every brick wants to be a building.
There you
Louis
go.
Kahn.
That's true. That's true. Well, all right. So thanks for listening, y'all. We really appreciate your support, your listening. We hope you appreciate our conversations. We hope it enriches your life in some way. This is part of our dream, is really spreading the love of architecture and helping people to realize their dreams of architecture and listen and understand more. So
Yeah, see, this was my dream until it got stolen by Landon. And now it's Landon's dream.
it's ours now. It's a joint effort. So we really appreciate it. Please comment, share, subscribe, all those good verbs that have to do with social media. Donate. Sean Ju will do anything for money.
Just leave it in the comment. I'll be there.
Yeah. So we thank you again. Stay tuned for our next episode, and we'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.